You won't believe what I have just discovered. A quiet revolution happening around us, just like my epiphany on the hustle culture. Welcome, my fascinating Renaissance friends, to episode 212. Okay? I have just come across an article, and I'm just so shocked that that article breaks down exactly what I have shared with you, starting episode 198, what the hustle culture is all about. And what I intend to do is I shall break it down paragraph by paragraph. There's 7 paragraphs. They're all very meaty. They're all very, how do I say it? They're all very explosive, well, as far as I'm concerned. And I will animate it with personal experiences, personal counterparts. Okay? So let's start with paragraph 1, and I read. Hustle culture, there you go. Hustle culture sells a dream of freedom. Exactly, my overarching goal, right? So hustle culture sells a dream of freedom, but delivers a lifetime of debt. Something you owe, lifetime of debt. Debt to deadlines, debt to expectations, debt to a version of ourselves we can never seem to become. Heavy, isn't it? Heavy, deep. And I did like what I actually read the first time. It hit me, especially the last sentence. Striving for the version of ourselves which we never can become. In the Bible, there's a metaphor used, striving after the wind. You know, just like trying to catch the wind. Well, what does it tell you? The futility of the action, striving after the wind, right? And it makes us what? It makes us hopeless. It's futility is futile. What hustle culture has done to us, it sells us a dream of freedom, okay, of growth, of everything, but actually delivers, a lifetime of debt to expectations of others, debt of deadlines because of our corporate job, and a version of ourselves we can never seem to become. Not very nice, isn't it? Okay, paragraph number 2. Right? For years, we were told that exhaustion is the price of success. That if you're tired, it means you're doing it right. Wow. That your worth as a person is measured by how little time you have for yourself. Hindsight, I had to, I had to knock myself off and say, why did I ever buy into this? Why did I ever believe, that fatigue is good, burnout is good, and self-neglect is right? Meaning how little time you spend on yourself is actually good because it is the price for success. I mean, it's true, no? It's true that hindsight can only come after so many years, and of course, it's the past. We cannot get it back. But it's just nice to even reminisce the fact that this used to be my marching orders, huh? Okay, so paragraph 3. Okay, it says here, so we agreed to live in a world that glorifies burnout and calls it ambition. Burnout and calls it ambition? We wear our stress like a badge. Mhm. We compete for who sleeps less, who works more, who sacrifices more. We confuse being busy with being important. Hmm. Is it already sounding a bell? Does it sounds familiar? Okay, imagine stress is a badge of honor. Yeah, sadly, I wore that badge for a long, long time. So sacrificing precious time with family is noble, you know. I can't help but remember with sadness and warning. Before I share this with you, I am not proud of that fact, and every time I would remember that, I do not feel right. But again, this is part of the casualty of believing in the lie. During the early years of our children growing up, I was very very busy. I put up the console. I told you that in the previous very very early episodes of what brought me here at age 28. I put up my own consulting company. I had a team, but everything revolves around me, getting clients, servicing clients. Very 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 a busy life. And at the end of the day, I would always, sit down with my secretary then, and we would really review. Okay, tomorrow, or what are my commitments? Meetings, sessions, speaking engagements, cocktails. The works. And believe me, I'm talking about 24/7, not really 24/7, but I'm actually working 7 days a week, okay, even weekends. And I would know what is in there. And one weekend caught my attention. It's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I wasn't aware. It just says there, appointment, okay, and trip. I said, what is this about? Because my appointments and trips are always with clients. Remember that. And then my secretary said, well, that was blocked off by your husband. I said, why? Well, he said that you cannot get any appointments there because that is for him. He made an appointment. What for? I don't know. Okay. So immediately after I met my husband who picked me up, well, we shared the same office because we put a business together. I said, what is this appointment for? He says, if we, if I do not block off dates for the family, you will never have time for it because the kids, we want to, the kids in summer, the kids would like to go to the beach, we go to the resort and have fun, and we can bring their yayas, and you stay put, you'll be with us, even if you are working, at least we want you there. I was shocked. The realization that my own husband, my own family, has to make an appointment with me and block off days so that they can have me hurt me a lot. But did I really stop long enough to think? No, I continued with the hustle culture, unfortunately. Okay? So let's continue. This is going to be a little long. So the next paragraph says, but something is shifting for people are starting to ask the questions we were never allowed to ask out loud. Remember the question I asked? What if this isn't the only way? What if hustle culture is not a path to freedom, but a more stylish form of slavery? Oh boy, that hurts. Slavery was abolished thousands or hundreds of years ago, and yet I was because I woke up. Okay, I was a slave. Well, I got smart. Okay, I got an epiphany. All right, so my resonance life is actually a rebellion against that slavery. Okay, the rebellion is quiet. It says here, it looks like saying no to things that don't align. That's the first thing. It looks like leaving a job that looks good on paper but slowly kills your spirit. It looks like choosing a simple life over an impressive one. Simple, impressive. We'll talk about that much later. It looks like protecting your mornings, okay, your peace, your relationship, and your mental health as if they matter more than money. Of course, it does matter more money. Rebellion without bearing arms. Yes, we are in a rebellion, but we are not bearing arms. We are not committing violence. We are not hurting people in the process. It happens in many forms. And they are as unique as the rebels themselves. Of course, no, I am a rebel. You're a rebel if you're rebelling against the hustle culture. People are not becoming lazy. We are just becoming honest. We're no longer willing to trade our present for a future that might never arrive. We're tired of chasing a version of life that was designed to keep us running but never truly allows us to arrive. Picture in a carnival a hamster on wheels. You know, this contraption, the hamster will run very fast. Okay, it will turn, and yet the hamster is not going anywhere. It just stays where it is, and yet busy running, tired, burnout, but no progress. Right? All right. The last one says maybe the real revolution is choosing a life, right, that feels like our own, even if it's not the life the world applauds. Maybe walking away is how we finally come home to ourselves. Right? So I guess I have affirmation and confirmation that I'm not alone. Discovering that the hustle culture is no longer the way I want to live, and I'm very thankful that I have found my resonance life, which I will pass it to you. Okay, so if you really resonate, with what I have just read from the article, it's very important. Please engage with me and don't forget to like and subscribe so we can continue this conversation. Until then, goodbye.